Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mosk Podcast show for our third episode. I am your host, Ethan Moskowitz, back at it for another week. Thanks again for joining us this early Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. And happy Valentine's Day to you all, as it's February 14th today, second week of February already. Can't believe it. I also want to tell you that Vincenzo is not back with me this week for a very special reason. It's actually his birthday. So in the comment section below, I want you to comment happy birthday, we miss you, whatever you want. Send him best wishes, all that stuff. We truly miss him on the podcast. Always good to talk some sports with him. But I'm going to take it myself today. I also had a lot of people asking me who Vincenzo actually was. So I'll get into more of that next week. But I met him on an Iona event, a mission trip to Brownsville, Texas, where we did RD and everything. I'll go more into that next week, as it was a very inspirational trip. I met 6 other people. We all became friends and worked as a team. But yeah, I'll get into more of that next week. Next week, like I said. But yeah, that was a life-changing experience right there. But yeah, let's get into sports talk. And I know I said I might get into March Madness. We're gonna wait like a week or two for that. And we'll get Vincenzo's like sort of perspective on that as well. So yeah, we'll wait for him. But hopefully he'll be back next week and we'll get the show on the road again like that. But yeah, let's start with the main topic from Sunday is the Super Bowl. And I thought it was actually a great game. So I just wanted to get into that a little bit. It was it was a it was a great game followed by a pretty good halftime show, I would say. Not the best I've ever seen for a halftime show, but I thought Rihanna put on a good show because you know, she's been around a while, but she's still killing it out there, and she showed it on the halftime show on the one of the biggest stage in the world, in in Glendale, Arizona. They were in, and yeah, she performed all her hits, all that stuff. But for the actual game, it got off to like a incredible start where both teams drove down with ease and started scoring right away. It was 7-7 with like 7 minutes to go in the first. They both scored right away. And it was looking like a high scoring game. It ended up being pretty high, but you know, both teams settled in, all that stuff. So I would say a very good game, seesaw battle. One team scored, the other team scored, so it was a well fought game that way. And yeah, I focused more on the ads actually for an assignment I had to do, stuff like that. But the ads were okay. Some of them were better than others. I did like T-Mobile with Bradley Cooper. Thought the message was pretty good with his mom there. And then I thought Gronkowski for FanDuel with kicking the field goal and actually missing it. I thought that was that was pretty funny. But yeah, other than that, the Duncan one with J Lo and Ben Affleck, I think it was. That was pretty good. But for the young quarterbacks, right? So Patrick Mahomes, we know, is the best star right now as a quarterback for the Chiefs, who are in the Super Bowl playing the Eagles, and Jalen Hurts was in there too, as the Eagles quarterback, one of the best, or if not the best this year. So I thought Jalen Hurts put on a exhibition out there. And they didn't come away with the win because it was a magical run at the end sort of thing, but bad calls at the end. It always comes down to a play, like I've said before. It always comes down to one certain play that they don't call or they do call. So I don't know. It always ends up that way, and someone's always going to be kind of upset. But I don't know. I don't think you can dwell on it because they both fought, and it could have gone either way at the end. It was incredible with Mahomes too. Just coming off you know what looked like a season-ending injury sort of thing, but at the end he said nothing would stop him from playing, so he came back in the second half, and what did he do? He basically came down the field every time, except for one time or two times. But those two times they kicked the field goal, they still scored points out of it, so they kept cutting into that lead, which eventually led them to getting an Eagles stop where they didn't score, and that allowed the Chiefs, to actually score a bunch, eventually take the lead, and the Eagles, well, that they responded once, but it still wasn't enough to catch up to the Chiefs, who had the two touchdown lead. And the Eagles started up and everything. By the end, with the 8-point conversion, the touchdown, the 2-point conversion. Um, and then the Chiefs actually, they came way down the field. They wound it down. They were right at the end zone there. But the guy smartly slid and, was down, just to run the clock, which was basically the game right there. They ran it down to the 8-second mark, it was, and then they kicked the field goal on the fourth down. And they converted that. He ended up being the hero. It was a fairly close one because they were right at the end zone. And the Eagles had 8 seconds. You can't do much with 8 seconds. You can run the ball once, take a kneel, and then throw it to end zone. But it was just way too far. You can't do that from that far. But it didn't end up coming close, and all the Chiefs were there to block the ball. Game was over. Patrick Mahomes MVP. Andy Reid got another championship there from the Super Bowl. And yeah, I thought it was just a great atmosphere, a great game. I was saying with 10, 10 or about 10 people in my dorm room, and we were all just saying what a great game it was, great halftime performance. I thought it all worked out. Even even the Philly fans, they can admit it was a good game, but you know, they would have loved to come out with the win. But everyone I talked to saying it was well fought. Jalen Hurts is going to be back, which I think he will because he's a young star still, and it's just incredible what he did this season. I can only imagine it getting better because he's still learning on the fly. So um, I think it's going to be good for the future for the Eagles for sure. And Chiefs are gonna be the Chiefs always with Mahomes. Um, Kelsey was great again. He was their running guy, and all that stuff. But yeah, ads, halftime show, game, they made it all all great atmosphere there. I don't think it could have gone any better. The one complaint I did have was the field, the turf. People were slipping like every play, and I thought that was really key because players kept getting injured. It was just not safe out there. I don't know what it was made out of or what they put on there, but and even players early in the year, I think it was the Chiefs who played there. They were complaining too, even earlier in the season. They didn't do anything to fix that up. So you know, uh, they need to do something about that for the future because that's just not safe and it's not fun either to watch. Uh, you know, it affected the game quite a bit, and we could have seen a little more if that wasn't there. But you know, if I told myself I thought the Eagles would have won that, but you can't count out Mahomes, so great game overall. Mahomes came through after the injury, was better than ever. Um, yeah, you just can't count him out, and he came through there. So it's just pretty incredible. And let me know how you feel about the Super Bowl. If you agree with me or not, totally fine. Just comment down below. We'll see after. And ads. I still remain with the ads. Have been iffy as of late. Some are better than others still. Um, but it's just not been the same since a couple of years ago. Uh, but yeah, that's where I stand with that. So I'm gonna move on to the I think it's the MLB. Yes, um the MLB spring training is actually coming up next week, so I'm gonna get into that. I know a lot of you are excited for that. Mets and Yankees back, some Philly fans, even Red Sox fans on here. So yeah, let's get into that a little bit. Um, we stick to New York though. So we're gonna stick with I'm gonna mention the MLB pitchers and catchers. They're starting right now. So I know a lot of people look forward to that. Just seeing them out in the field, throwing, conditioning, all that stuff. It's just a great scene to see. I was even in Port St. Lucie once to see the Mets actually place in spring training. It wasn't the same as being at a live regular season game. But it's still fun to watch and see the players actually getting ready for the season. They're playing their hearts out, and it's just really cool. It's just a really cool sight to see. You see many players because they switch them in and out every inning, especially late in the game. So it's usually fun, and being in Florida, it's warm weather, and Port St. Lucie, no exception. But you know, all that stuff. It's just a great atmosphere, great game, uh, a vacation excuse if I could say that. But yeah, all that stuff. eh, I'm gonna say MLB is not my favorite sport, but I do like watching it a little bit. It's just too slow for me sometimes. But the action of the game, the food, the fans, uh, you know, interacting with them and seeing home runs hit. When there is action, it's actually really fun. When they make great plays on the outfield, the defense, and the infield, the catchers, pitchers, whatever they duel and they just dominate the game. It's actually fun sometimes. And the games I've gone to at Citi Field and Yankee Stadium, they're no exception. They've been pretty fun. So I could say that. I think the both the AL East and the NL East are going to be competitive once again. We saw with AL East the Yankees were on a tear, and now you got the Blue Jays, who will always have a a promising star team, which they do with Guerrero, Bichette, and Chapman even performed a little. Can't think of the rest of the names off my head. Springer maybe will come through a little bit. They got Varsho now from Arizona. I think these guys can make a comeback, but I haven't seen it in um, result to anything big, except for like a wild card or a first round exit. So I don't know what they're doing there, but they're definitely adding talent each year. I just need to see it transfer into like a real contending team. So I don't think they could beat the Yankees right now with Judge and Stanton and Rizzo and LeMahieu and all the talent there. Torres is back. And the Yankees are going to be dominant. Maybe not in, like the past years. I think Judge can follow up. I don't know if he's going to be the same MVP Judge as we saw. Um, but even if he's not, I think they still are the team to beat. Until they show us they're not. the Rays, I can't see them like really making it far because it's all about their pitching always. And they don't really have enough offense right now to do anything. Can Franco, the young shortstop, stay healthy? I hope he can because he seems like a good talent. I just haven't seen enough out of him. Rosarena is always good hitting home runs, but is that like really? That seems like really it for them. And the pitching's gonna come through with McClanahan having a all-star season, Cy Young contender. Um, and you know, they have other guys that can fill out the rotation, but with the bullpen and all that, I really don't know. I'll have to see throughout the season. Um, I think Baltimore was kind of a fluke too. They ended up being pretty decent mid-season. Not an overpowering team. Still the worst in the AL East, but they added in I think they added in Adam Frazier, stuff like that. It can get them over a certain hump, but they're still to me the um maybe with the Red Sox as the worst team in the AL East. And I with the Red Sox, I have no idea where they're headed because they gave up so much talent this offseason. All they did was really keep Devers. They gave up Martinez, which I expected, but that's a big loss. And just dingers, JD Martinez. It's 30 to 40 home runs, maybe 30 at this point in his career, but he's still at stingers. And Bogarts, it's a big loss at your shortstop, third baseman area. I think, yeah, shortstop. He's an all-star caliber shortstop. Um, Veteran, everything. The Padres will use him well, and he'll perform well, I believe. But the Red Sox, man, they're in shambles right now, and I don't know what they could do about that. Um, but with the NL East, I think it's going to be pretty similar to last year, actually. I I don't know. I like what the Mets did with the offseason by replacing DeGrom's talent with Verlander or a mixture of Verlander, who's 38 but can still pitch. He won Cy Young last year, so can't deny that. And he stays healthy. So we'll see about that. And Quintana is just a reliable middle of the rotation kind of piece. So hopefully he can perform like last year, where he had you know a a decent first half with the Pirates, but the Pirates are going nowhere. So he was their best pitcher, which is kind of sad if I'm being honest. And he pitched for the Cardinals in the first round. They lost to the Phillies, and but he had a good performance, some experience there, I guess you can bring to the Mets. So I think I'll have a solid season. I can't say though until I see it, obviously, but I think he'll have a solid season because he's a veteran out there. He knows what he's doing, and I haven't seen much. I haven't seen anything from Senga. I gotta watch his highlights a little bit, but Japanese pitcher coming over from the area and coming here, he has like a two. He has two pitches in his. Yeah, he has two pitches, and I think they can. I think he could be solid, but it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to the MLB compared to Japanese league, and if his two pitches can be effective, getting strikeouts, getting outs in general. If he gets outs in general, this team will be great without giving up any runs. There's a lot of aspects to it, but with him too, you'll have to see right away. And Carrasco and Scherzer round out. They're pretty unreliable at this point with injuries, but when they pitch, Scherzer especially is great. He had a terrible ending to the regular season. When he pitched versus the Braves, and then the Padres, or yeah. No, Bassett actually pitched and DeGrom actually pitched. So there was like something going on there that they wanted Scherzer for that game 3. And it went into game 3 and he just wasn't on his game. And the Mets couldn't get around that, so they looked to rebuild. It started after that. They looked to rebuild. DeGrom wanted out. He got out, went to the Rangers for ridiculous deal. Can't stay healthy, so I'm not mad about that. I want to see him do well, but I'm not mad about him leaving there when he doesn't pitch at all. But for Scherzer, yeah, I think he can have a bounce back. He's also up in age, but also usually a Cy Young contender, mostly every year. So Verlander, Scherzer, Quintana, Carrasco, and then Senga. Yeah, for your 5 is still pretty solid. But you're gonna be competing with the Braves always. Um, they didn't really lose, but they didn't acquire anyone. Except for the All-Star catcher from Oakland, Sean Murphy. So I thought that was a key addition because they traded away Contreras, whatever, but Darno is still pretty good himself. The So Murphy, he's solid, but he's gonna be I don't know, he's gonna be pretty similar to Contreras in that way. Hitting is his main thing. Playing defense is top notch, so I can't deny that. So yeah, I thought that was a key addition there. Probably the only addition they needed because their offense is incredible still. Olsen, uh, what's the guy? Riley. Um, you did lose Swanson. I forgot to add that. You did lose Swanson to the Cubs. I thought that was key. I thought he would have stayed around after, the championship the previous year and this the solid season he had, to say the least. He had a all-star season basically. He wasn't an all-star, but he had an all-star season because he turned it on towards the end, which really helped him. And get the big bucks he needed to go to Cubs, whatever. I think it's his home city, so he goes back home basically. Um, but their offense is just still incredible, and Acuna too. I think they were looking to shop him, but you know he's he's a top talent for them. Albies might come back. I think they got Duvall now. If I'm not mistaken. Oh no, Duvall went to the Red Sox, but they got a bunch of solid hitters. If you know if I could say so. I think they're going to be contenders once again. With just that talent in general can push them over the hump. And the Phillies, they made that's the other team I want to talk about. The Phillies, the city of Philadelphia is just on a tear right now with the Eagles, um, the 76ers playing out of their minds, or really good basketball. The Phillies actually made the World Series last year. They didn't win. The Houston Astros have that now, as their title. And the Phillies, they just came through. It was just the right timing. It was totally the right timing. Schwarber was hitting his usual dingers. Bryce Harper was playing out of his mind, better than ever, with the insane average, like, in the 400s or 300s for most of it. Hoskins came through a little bit. Real Muto always coming through at the right time as a catcher. Um, yeah, just all that. I think Castellanos was a key addition this season. I think all that veteran experience just like just like smashed it into one piece. It all came through with Wheeler, Nola, Suarez out of the bullpen, Eflin out of the bullpen. Their third starter, they had Gibson. They gave him up now. He wasn't great, but all those pieces got them through for what they needed. Um, yeah, for them it was just coming through at the right moment. But for this season, I think it got even better because they had an all-star shortstop, Trey Turner, the best on the market, or one of the best this offseason. You could argue DeGrom, whatever. I think Turner was up there with all of them. And you add in relief pitching with Gregory Soto. I think it was not Ryan Stagg, but the guy who kind of looks like him with long hair. Matt Strom. Yeah, Matt Strom. Craig Kimbrell is not reliable, but he's still a good pitcher. So yeah, I think with the bullpen and all that stuff, I thought it was key to add in that because that's always been the killer to their runs and the whole team. They just needed a solid bullpen. I think they got that. They gave up Robertson to the Mets, our Mets, and you know, it helps the Mets, but with Diaz and the closing, so the Mets also improved with Brooks Raley, David Robertson, re-signing Edwin Diaz, re-signing Adam Ottavino, and all that stuff combined into one is a very solid bullpen and can get you far in the postseason. So I'm looking forward to the run they could possibly make, and I think they can go far. Yeah, we'll just have to see how the season plays out. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm not the biggest baseball fan. I'm still looking forward to the season though. Don't get me wrong. Watching the Mets and Yankees, it's always fun watching them hit dingers, pitching, whatever. I'm looking forward to see how they perform. And I think it will be a key to notice early how they start out the season. Because that always comes in effect towards the end if they let go of the gas pedal a little bit. Maybe they can because they have a huge lead, but not with the Mets, with the Braves and Phillies always having a chance like late in the season, like you saw, to actually come back and even take the division lead right at the end, and that was just key. The Braves have been on a tear the second half, like every season, to be honest. Everyone they put out there is coming through. And I forgot to mention the Braves rookies too. Michael Harris is the second or third, whatever, but he plays a incredible center field, and he has the power at the plate to hit all over the place. And then Grisham was Vaughn Grisham was a up and coming, and then he turned into a star. Maybe for like a month or two, and then he just disappeared. And then their pitcher Strider, it was like their second or third best option, and they noticed that like after a month or two, it was their second or third best option. He was just incredible. With his pitch selection and everything there. Everything was there for him. So as a rookie, that's just incredible, and he's going to be good for the rest of his career. No real injuries or anything. Um, so I mean, it looks incredible for the Braves' future. Mets' future with Beatty Alvarez as the catcher. I don't know. I don't know much about that. Volpe with the Yankees. That's a young star too. We'll have to see how all these pieces combine, help these teams out, and eventually for their future. I would say for these young players. Well, some will help them now because the Braves with Strider and Harris. Grisham's not going to be a factor yet, but with all of them, they can get over the hump with their help. And for the future, yes, they're going to be incredible to help out with that. So we'll have to see how they perform. Um, but yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for MLB until we get to the spring training, see how all the teams perform, and we head into the regular season. So looking forward to that. and all that. So and then last time we were on, well, I'm gonna move on to NBA now, because we had a like a record breaking sort of trade deadline, and we have the Nets breaking up into shambles, sorta. I would say sorta, because I've seen a little bit out of them now. But it looked like it was a letdown, and the Nets are now a garbage team and all that. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing also that we were incredibly fortunate to get the pieces we did in return for. So Kyrie Irving got traded on Wednesday right after we had our second episode, and that was a really quick one. That was the first of the the first major one, because the Lakers had Hachimura and all that like before. So the trade deadline when it actually started, Kyrie Irving was the earliest, and it was breaking news and all that. Obviously, it was very surprising to me that it came that early, and that he went to Dallas. But in return, we got Finney Smith, or his full name is Dorian Finney Smith. He's a defender, can shoot the ball a little, can drive down the in the paint, and overpower some guys. Good young talent still. So he has some years in there. For Dinwiddie, he started his career as a net. Is from the area. He loved the Nets incredibly, but he got traded to the Wizards. When that happened, he was actually really upset, and he eventually went to Dallas, where he had more success because he didn't really do well with the Wizards. I don't remember many great performances with them. He was with Beal and all that. Right, Wall might have still been there too, but he's always injured, so that's irrelevant. But Dinwiddie went to Dallas for Porzingis. Um, it might have been another piece too that came to the Mavericks, maybe Bertans or something. I think it was Bertans, Davis Bertans. Just a 3-point shooter, a little bit of a defender, nothing much. He's still on the Mavericks, but we got Dinwiddie back to Brooklyn after that. In the Kyrie Irving, Markieff Morris went with him. I don't care about that really. Just a older veteran who, is just the bench warmer now in his career. So for that, I thought it was key. We got a defender. We got Dinwiddie, who always cares about basketball as a point guard, small forward, whatever you want to call it. He can shoot. He can create his own shot. Not consistently. I wouldn't say consistently, but he's still very young. Probably a future All-Star because he averages 20 points a game. His first 2 out of 3 games, he's had 25 and then 30. The one game versus the Sixers, he wasn't that good, but Bridges was good. So I'll get into more about Bridges too, because he was part of the Kevin Durant trade, which was the massive piece of this. That came suddenly at 1:30 on when was it? It was like really. I think it was Friday. It was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Saturday. But he got traded at 1:30 in the morning. It kept me up for probably a few hours. I barely got any sleep that day. I was very upset as a New York basketball fan. Um, Mostly Brooklyn Nets. I gotta say I'm mostly Brooklyn Nets. Some Knicks, but and not really. I follow the Knicks a lot just because of their New York sports team. When they have success, kind of happy for them, kind of not. But you know, as a Brooklyn Nets fan right now, I couldn't stay up. I mean, I had to stay up for hours. I didn't mean that, but for sure I had to stay up for hours because Kevin Durant was the future, like uh 3 or 4 years ago when he came over. 3 years ago when he came over with Irving. Um, the Nets did all they could, adding the star power and getting rid of the young talent, which I was also upset about. And with Russell after his unbelievable 2018 season with the Nets, becoming an All Star, and with that. They gave up Allen in the future after getting Harden, all that stuff. So the big three it was at that point. They gave up LeVert, and all that young talent. I wish could have formed into something with Irving and Durant possibly, but we had to give all that up. Even Prince was in there. I didn't really like him, but even those pieces were solid role players. We gave up a lot of young talent there, and now they're playing as a star role on their teams. Actually, Levert and Allen are both on the Cavs playing pretty good, scoring in double figures. Allen's getting double-digit rebounds like he usually does as a center. With Mobley there, it's incredible what they're doing with the rebounds. But yeah, the big three was a big fail. I guess you could say. We got Simmons out of the Sixer trade with Harden, and it was along with Curry's brother, Seth Curry, Steph Curry's younger brother. Has a very similar game, not as consistent. Can give you a 20-point game here and there when he's actually healthy, because he's a liability there. He's not always healthy. This season he's been out for multiple months if you add it up, and very few games. When he's in though, he does get on streaks and start scoring. Some days he's hot, some days he's cold. It affects the team a lot, and can't wait for him to come back actually, because he's injured currently right now, about to come back in a few games. But a few games till the All-Star break now. So the Nets have one more game to kind of sort of figure out the team a little bit, try to get over a certain hump. They play the Heat in Brooklyn on Wednesday, right before the All-Star break. So the Nets have no current All-Stars. I think, to be honest, that might be a big advantage, because they get practice time and all that to actually figure out what they're doing. Practice most days they have a lot of time off, so you can do whatever you want. Practice, get ready for that second half of the season. Try and make a big push with the young team you have. A lot of defenders, so you go from Finney Smith, Claxton is sharp as a backup center, doesn't really play that much. Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. Oh, yeah. So they are defenders. What I forgot to say for the Durant trade, what we got in return with the 4 first-round picks, Cam Johnson, excellent shooter and defender. Can create his own shot a little, but I'm not going to get there with his game, because his game is mostly 3 and D. Mikal Bridges is a shooter, turned into a shooter, but he's a shot creator. He's a defender, has long wingspan. It's incredible. I think he's a key addition. He might be our top scorer with Dinwiddie. But is that enough for now? I think we have to build and see after this season, at least. This season's kind of I would say, you have to look into it. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think it's an exhibition kind of season to see how these players actually perform with each other. They'll make the play-in at least. I'll say at least, but I'm hoping they make the playoffs this season, and they can come through. They have a bunch of 3-point shooters with Cam Johnson, Yuta Watanabe when he plays. Incredible percentage from the corner on threes. Curry when he comes back. Patty Mills is a veteran, so I'm not going to count on him really, but he can shoot. Joe Harris is, a lot better now than when he started the season. He's been the most consistent 3-point shooter, for the past like 5 or 6 years, on the Nets, and he didn't really get much playing time with the Cavs when he came into the league, so it's good for him. You got Dinwiddie, you got Bridges. They can all shoot at a high percentage sometimes. Some nights they're cold, some nights they're hot. But when they're on fire, you want to be careful of them, because you want to play them well. They're going to make their shots consistently when they're on it that night. So with them, I think it's just a matter of just developing your young talent. you know, finding a certain rotation to actually play together and find a consistent sort of play there that can get you over the hump in the future. So yeah, I'm like really looking forward to that and seeing how they perform together. So yeah, we started off with the Nets. Now we're going to move on to the Knicks, and talk about we're going to talk about their performance this week. I know I didn't do that with the Nets. The Nets went like 2-3 or 1-3 the past week, 1-4 even, because they lost their top talent and they couldn't win those games versus the Knicks. It was tough last night. But for the Knicks, they've been on a good streak right now. They're creeping up on the Nets actually. 2 games behind. eh, and kind of creeping out of that play in into the playoffs. They're really close to the other teams. So very good week for them. They pulled off a win they should have had versus the Magic by 4. Actually, the Magic are up and rising team. No, it's still not good by any means. But with Benchero, like I said last week, top rookie, number 1 pick, performing like it, just incredible what he's doing. The Knicks actually following that had a incredible, I would say incredible, because Sixers were on fire. It was versus the 76ers. They came from behind and then they took the lead. They just couldn't stop making shots. It was incredible. I was very proud of the Knicks that night because they played their hearts out, and it really showed that game. That was incredible. That was their best win of the season, I gotta say, by far. And it showed how they can compete with other teams on any given night. Uh, kind of like Vincenzo said last week, the Knicks, they can beat the great teams and they can lose to some teams they should easily beat. It's just weird some nights, but they have that defense. Sort of when Robinson comes back, they have they have pieces that can still play some D, shoot, whatever. They have all around talent. It's just getting it together, performing and staying healthy at the right time. They can make a run. I don't know. They won't make it out of the second round at least. Maybe out of the first. We'll see. But we'll see how the team looks by then. They traded Reddish and Mikhailo, who didn't really play. But they for Josh Hart, and Hart for the first 2 games as we are now, he had the 10-point game in the first, which was solid debut right there for the Garden crowd. They were on his side right there. It's hard to perform it in front of them sometimes, but like Hart even said, it's the best place to play. The Garden, the most famous arena in New York City, and being a part of that team is probably an incredible feeling. You get to play at the Garden half of your games, and for Hart, he hasn't lost any bit of the crowd because he kept making his shots. He scored 28 or 26 versus the Nets last night, and he couldn't miss. He was driving to the hole. He was overpowering the defenders, getting the M1s every now and then. It was just incredible what he was doing, and I never really liked this game, to be honest. But what he's shown the first 2 games is pretty incredible. Don't know if he could keep it up. The the connection between Hart and Brunson from Villanova days. I think that has something to do with it. They both have energy. They both love each other, and they can perform with the best of them. So, and maybe he could keep that. We'll have to see throughout the season. But what a week for them. Then they beat the Utah Jazz, who are a very good team with All-Star Markkanen, Clarkson off the bench, rookie Walker Kessler, getting like you know 15 rebounds a game. He still did his job, but the Knicks handled the Jazz pretty much like a veteran team would. So another great win there. And then yeah, so yeah, they had an incredible week. They had one loss in there, um, but for the most part, they're they're looking good right now. They're on the uprise, and this is all without Robinson. Remember that their top defender, who will block shots like crazy, about 4 or 5 blocks a game. He's he's probably the top rim protector in the league at points. So at points of the season, I mean, and he can he can turn the team around himself. But they're already on the uprise, like I said, and they're going to make it really far if they're playing like this every game. With Randall and Brunson scoring in their 30s, the first duo in Knicks history to score back-to-back games with 30 points each. Um, I didn't know that actually had to be done, but or that was the first time ever, because that seems like it's doable. But for the Knicks, I guess it's kind of hard. But Brunson and Randall both did that. Randall keeps getting double-digit rebounds. It's just pretty incredible. And they're on the uprise again. So when it comes to playoff time, I think they'll be on the verge still of playoff. Um, Play in, which is the games where teams play each other to move on bracket wise to actually make the playoffs. They had that addition in the Orlando bubble about 3 or 4 years ago during COVID, and it might have been even 2 years ago. But when they had the bubble in COVID, that was the year they added in the play-in tournament. So that helps teams from 7 through 10 seed actually uh, get away to make the playoffs. Two teams make it, and you have to. If you're a 10 seed, you have to beat two teams to actually make it. If you lose one of them, you're totally out. But it gives you the chance to make a run at it and show you got something on your team. So, but can the Knicks stay consistent? We'll have to see, and I'll update you next week on how they do. Stay tuned with that. All that stuff. I think they're on the uprise though. And they'll continue to be for a little while. But yeah, we'll have to see what their performance with the Nets. I'm very concerned with if they can stay afloat in the playoffs, but I think they can turn around and figure out a rotation that can, bring them far. That can have them playing well at some point, getting on a certain streak. Once they play the easier teams, hopefully they can compete like they did with the Sixers, not the Knicks, because the Knicks actually finally snapped their 9 game win streak, or losing streak to the Nets, I should say, and that was a you know a key snapper to just get that losing streak off your resume there. But yeah, for the Knicks, yep, uprise and Nets. We'll see. They could stay afloat. They have a still solid team with the shooters and defenders. It's a well-rounded team there. Um, so yeah, and um, I guess our last topic today. I'm going to move on to a new topic. Since I am an Iona student and I am at the Iona radio station currently right here, I am going to talk about their men's basketball teams and women's as well. So yeah, I'm going to start with the men's because they've been pretty incredible this last week. Nothing has gone wrong for them. You got our star Walter Clayton Jr., WCJ, and he scores 30 against the team up north in the MAC, and they really needed it to get that win, get the win by 20, whatever. It was a blowout, but you saw a lot of Clayton. You saw a lot of Nelly, like always. Nelly Jr. Joseph. He gets double doubles like each game with rebounds and points. One of the highest field goal percentage, which is really key because it's not easy to do that as a big man. Get up over shots without dunking, whatever. Tough finishes always key. Making you free throws. He's working on that. I think he's getting a lot better. Danish Jenkins has been a real key this season. A big addition to the Iona team, and one of the newbies. And I didn't know much about him, but the first game versus Penn State, that was just incredible. Where he went off for 20 something, but that was the first game. Now he could score like 30, and even be at that top professional level at some point. I think he can, because he's just got that kind of game with shot creator, tough finishes, assist guy, all around game is just incredible what he's doing in his first year at Iona, and I look forward to what he can do in the future. Um, and with the women's team, uh, I should say the men's team is under Rick Pitino, so I forgot to mention that. Rick Pitino, incredible, historic kind of head coach there with the NBA teams he coached, the Kentucky, whatever he did, in, college basketball history. He's one of the top coaches, wants to stay at that level with Iona as a top level head coach. And, you know, he's just, he's just making more successful, gears towards that, because at Iona, it's a pretty incredible team. It's a little easier division, I would say. But the division's pretty talented. St. Peter's made a run last year with all that stuff. So it's just pretty incredible what he's been doing, and just adding on to his historic career, Hall of Famer coach. And for the women's now, you got they're on a double digit win streak. Top team in the MAC. One of the top teams in the country, I think. And you got all these historic things, these historic records being broken with 3-point shooting, blocks, assists, and Billy Chambers is doing an incredible job as a head coach of the women's basketball team. Uh, and being one of the top teams in the country, it really shows what work she's put in to the team. Just really proud of the girls and the men's teams. Uh, Being at every game is an incredible feeling. Sometimes working their games, as I am a part of the ESPN production some nights. It's just incredible working their games, seeing them grow. Uh, and I look forward to the MAC tournament, where they can eventually possibly win and get into March Madness, where they have a chance to perform well. Um, they just gotta stay consistent, be at that right time, like all the other topics we talked about. You gotta be healthy, you gotta stay consistent, you gotta perform well at the right moment, and you'll have a great chance of getting to the top level you want to, or wherever you want to. Um, Obviously, you're going to have to compete with other great teams, but they have a solid chance if they can stay like this for the time being. So yeah, we got the men's coming up this weekend at the Heinz here at Iona, Heinz Athletic Center, and it's our rival versus Manhattan, so it's going to be packed. It's always a fun atmosphere. The game's packed, right? So you get loud crowds. The arena's small, but it really packs a punch when it's a full arena. Really nice atmosphere. The players going at it, all that stuff. Everyone gets into it. The women's are here Thursday night for Siena, so that should be good. Continue their win streak, hopefully. And yeah, I look forward to all the rest of the games. They have like 2 or 3, both of them, at home this season. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up for there. I really enjoyed this episode. This third episode of the Mosk Podcast Show. Um, and I just want to know your thoughts down below. And first off, comment happy birthday, Vincenzo, if you didn't already. But hopefully we'll have him back next week to talk more sports, because we really do miss him. We love him here on the show. All his insight and all that stuff. So for that, yeah, comment that. Also comment what you think of my thoughts this episode and what we discussed today. If you're excited for the MLB offseason, let me know. I'm excited too, sort of. And with NBA, just let me know how you think the teams will do. Super Bowl, whatever, what we talked about today. Anything we talked about today. So yeah, I love you all. And make sure you tune in next Tuesday at 9 a.m. We'll be back, hopefully joined by Vincenzo, like I said. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day, the nice weather in the 50s, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.